I'm going to call this meeting to order. The board, I want to welcome all the members of the public for being here this evening and guests. The board did meet in closed session and no action was taken this evening. And the Pledge of Allegiance is going to be led from our students from the Dream Academy. So come on up.
It's like I'm just going where Andrew is.
Okay, please stand. Please. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great job, guys.
Great job, thank you. And now we'll have Principal Brooke Dexheimer give us and Manager Robin Bowman will give a highlight on their programs separately.
Well, thank you for having us. First off, I'd like to thank my team, Ms. Kitt and Ms. Potts and Ms. Jones and Mrs. Carter and Ms. Upchurch and Ms. Minden, and now we have Mrs. Ward and Ms. Caitlin. They all make everything happen every day up at Dream Academy. I want to thank Rhonda and Natalie and Lisa for your support in building this program, and to the board for allowing us to build Dream Academy and do all the amazing things that we're doing up there. So, because we have some, some new board members, I'd like to just kind of share a little bit about our program because we are new. And last year you weren't here, so I'd like to just kind of explain where we've been and kind of where we are and where we want to go. So, Dream Academy started out last year as an independent study program. So we're a fully independent study. And now this year, we have two programs. So we have the independent study program where students still do their core work at home, and we use the K-12 online curriculum. And then they have virtual meetings 3 days a week, and then the option to come in person 2 days a week where they get some enrichment and socialize with the other kids. And then this year, new, we have our in-person PBL 5-day-a-week learning experience. And so the kids come every day, and they're in like combination classes, and we do this through the PBL model. What is PBL? Oh. So when our team met last year, we had only the homeschool program, and we knew that we were moving to this new model, and we were like trying to figure out how do you go from just homeschool to in-person, and what does that look like? And we knew that the things that we wanted our new program to entail were some of the things that made the program that we already had so special. And so that's where our vision came from. And so I've just kind of bullet pointed it here is that we're a small school, and one of the important things is that everyone knows everyone by name. So all the kids know each other, all the teachers know everybody, and that it's centered around kindness. So everyone's held accountable and everybody's kind to each other, but they also have this freedom to be uniquely themselves. And that we're very family oriented. We have our families on campus as much as possible and a part of the students' learning. And then we also have individualized learning, but through this authentic learning around like real world problems through PBL. And that our school is student driven. So our mission, how we are accomplishing that, is to provide a personalized learning experience to guide our students in pursuing a lifelong love of learning, while providing an emotionally safe environment where our students are happy and excited about their learning. So product-based learning, it's exciting. It's an instructional approach designed to give students the opportunity to develop knowledge and skills through engaging projects set around challenges and problems they may face in the real world. And so we do that at Dream Academy through our lens of DREAM, which is design, research, engineering, agriculture, and mechanics. So some of the projects that we've had on campus this year is in our kindergarten and first grade class. They did research on bridges, what they looked like. They designed models. So they started on paper, designing them, and then they built a model out of Legos, and then later on they actually built their bridges, which is fun. So some of the pictures of them doing that. In our 2-3, the kids were learning about whether they read a book, and they started being really interested in tornadoes. So they had one, Miss Menden, her family lives in Oklahoma, which was like Tornado Alley. So they started talking to Miss Menden. She was bringing them a lot of information about it. She went to Oklahoma, pictures of their storm shelters. So the kids did a lot of research on tornadoes and storm shelters, and reading books, writing about it, and then they designed and engineered and built storm shelters. And today I had the opportunity to sit in on their classroom when they had a Zoom with Miss Minden's sister, who lives in Oklahoma, and was able to show their storm shelters to her and have a conversation about, like, why do you have them, what does it like? And then they talked about earthquakes here and the things that they do, and were able to engage and share that. So it was really fun. And then our 4-5, they did research, designed, and built models of chicken coops for a proposal that they sent to, and they did in front of the Stadium Association to get some money so that we can move forward with our agriculture program. Maybe some chickens, hopefully goats, because they cook a little easier, but we're going somewhere. That's our plan, is to move forward with that. And then our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, they spent a week of wonder where the kids were really able to explore something that they were passionate about. And it ranged from monkeys to someone did Greek mythology. So it was all over the place, and then they were able to present in an exhibition to their parents. So a lot of product-based learning through this lens of DREAM. We've also, because we are a K-8 school, which is different for our district, we knew that we needed to provide, even though we do the PBL and the kids get a lot of the products and stuff, we still needed to provide some kind of elective or switching of the courses. So we came up with our rotations, and we call them explorations. And so they get art, which are, they learn a different media every week. And then they do Legos, where the students are building and learning to code. And then, of course, PE required by the state. And then gardening, where they're starting to prepare for our spring planting. So in art, it's fun. They do with the different mediums. So they did a little bit of leaf art. We also have crochet. So our kids are learning to crochet and do different art pieces. We were at the Spirit of Christmas, and they were selling some of the pieces that their crochet teacher had taught them. And it's just kind of a calming thing for some of our students to be able to just have that and work on that. Legos, we have kindergartners who are coding. It's awesome. They build something and then they code it, and you come in and it's spinning or it's turning. And some of our older kids are working to get things to be able to go to a wall and turn around and we're working towards a robotics team. Hopefully that next year maybe we can have a robotics team, and I've been reaching out to some people to help us with that. So we're kind of in the preparation stages of that. And then PE, they just, soccer, flag football, all the different things and different games. The kids are separated in their grade levels. And then in our garden, we have amazing volunteers that come to our school and help us. They've built greenhouses and storage facilities and all this. Over the summer, we were able to expand our garden almost double the size. So we're ready, and we have got some donations from the Stadium Association, so we're getting ready over the winter break to purchase some things so the kids can build and we can start planting. So we're really excited about that. One of the other things that we do that's really a part of the vision and mission that we have at Dream Academy, is to build these relationships among the kids so that they really feel connected to their school and they feel like they're a part of a safe environment. And so one of the ways we do that is through our community building events, and we have those on the last Friday of every month during our rotations. And so the very first one we did, we paired our older kids, we called them, all of our classes have, they're called the House of, so we have the House of Little, the House of Bigs, the House of Giants, and now we have one more, so the House of Mediums. Teacher's not a fan of it, so very much, but the kids are kind of stuck on it. And so then they've gone to colors too, so they all have a color, and we did a tie-dye event, so everybody was able to tie-dye a shirt, so they all have a shirt with their class color, and then they can wear them on these on Fridays and then in the community days. So we had a minute to win it, and I don't know if you can see this picture, but it's the best picture I've ever taken. This little guy right here, he was in kindergarten and his partner was in 6th grade, and you had to, in 1 minute on a tongue depressor, stack as many dice as you can. And so he is holding this as strong as he can with his mouth for a minute, and he's done, he goes, oh, that was so heavy. They won because they scored like 14 dice on it, and he did not move. It was amazing. But it just gives them the opportunity to kind of, the older kids to be able to build patience, right? And with the younger kids, and then the younger kids learn from the older kids, so, you know, establishing those leadership skills, but just building those relationships in all of the different community events that we do. And here on the last one we had was right before the Thanksgiving holiday, and they did a gratefulness tree. So all the kids came together, and they had pie, and they made an ornament that went onto the gratefulness tree, and then were able to color and just kind of celebrate being a part of the Dream Academy. And so if you ever get a Friday, the last Friday of the month, 1:30 to 2:30, I invite you. It's a really great time up there. And then we're also doing a lot of interventions. We have our 2-3 reading interventions daily. We have some kids that are in those upper grades who are struggling, so we're providing that support. So we have our 4 or 5 after-school reading intervention program on Wednesdays, small group math, and then a lot of just in-class interventions are going on. We have some online programs like Success Maker and Math to help these students. We really are meeting our kids where they are and helping them and just kind of building them to get to where they need to be and being able to really access that grade level curriculum. And we are growing. So we are marketing all the time. We do social media. I'm learning. I took a crash course in social media marketing. And we do a lot of community events. So we're out. We've been to Touch a Truck, Spirit of Christmas. We do informational meetings. But word of mouth is just really the best way. People, our families enjoy our school, love being there. And just telling we've doubled in size. So we're hoping that by the end of, or by August, when we start up again, that we will be full. That is our goal. So thank you for letting us share Dream Academy.
I see Robin hiding in the back over there. Come on up. You're on stage.
Of course.
Presentation.
It wouldn't be a Lakeside School Board meeting if we didn't have technical problems, I promise you.
It's a human operator.
No, I promise you, these TVs have issues. They're probably Apple.
Yeah, I haven't Apple.
See, there you go, Apple Play.
Okay, sorry for the delay there. Good evening. I'd like to thank the school board for allowing me to present our amazing early childhood education program at LEAP, Lakeside Early Advantage Preschool Programs, which range from birth to when they go off into TK, so 4, sometimes 5. It just depends on when the parents decide to let them move on to you guys. So that being said, I'd like to go over first a few things about us. One of the big things is play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning, but for children, play is serious learning, and that is a Fred Rogers quote. So where some people want their children to be more educational, be more into learning. Learning is playing, playing is learning, and it's so important that free play and the child's creativity and their own imagination drives that. So for us, it is a very important part of children in preschool and early ed. Early education is an important time in children's lives because when they first learn how to interact with others, including peers, teachers, and parents. It also begins to develop interests that will stay with them throughout their lives. It helps in a child's emotional, social, and personal growth and development. A child who experiences the joy of learning and discovery and of completing age-appropriate tasks at a young age will more likely to enjoy school later in life and do better academically as well. So with LEAP, we have 2 campuses. Yes, we have our Marilla campus, which is self-sustaining, and that's only infants in preschool. But at Lindo Park, we have our state preschool, which is the free tuition-based, based on income and qualifications of the family size. We have 1 teacher at state preschool with 5 assistants. At Marilla, the tuition-based has 2 classrooms with 2 teachers, and there are 4 assistants. The tuition-based wraparound care, which is our 12-month program, runs 6:30 to 6. That runs, like I said, winter break, spring break, summers, for those families that work and need the extra support for their children. So we have that availability as well. We also have 6 SDCs, or special day classes, with 3 classrooms, 3 teachers, and 7 assistants. There's a preschool assessment class, so we can better, that runs for 2 weeks and assess that we can better see the whole child there. They hold IEPs with those teachers, and then the early start infants, they have 2 classrooms with 2 teachers and 4 assistants. And then we also have in the early start, which is birth to the day that they turn 3, we also have home visits, and that is 1 teacher that does, and 1 aide, 1 assistant that goes to home visits to help those families learn how to better help and assist their child that when they bring them home if they have some disability from the hospital. We always want to make sure the child's first and the disability is second. So that's really important in our field. We also have 3 SLPs, or speech language pathologists. We have 1 SLPA, which is speech language pathologist assistant, and 1 school psychologist, which is on our Marilla site. And we support just children that come in for speech only services. They may not be in the preschool classrooms. They come in for their little sessions and then they go off site from there. So we have people on our campus throughout the whole entire day doing drop-offs for 20-minute, 30-minute sessions, depending on if that's what their IEP calls for. So LEAP has a total of 246 students on the campuses, enrolled across all the programs. There's 165 students that will be going to your TK program this year that are looking into the school district's TK program. We do our best to try to make sure those kids stay in the Lakeside Union School District because it's really important. For the preschool, they can come from all over the county. We have children from Ramona, we have children from Chula Vista. I have children as far out as Boulevard that come here just for our preschool program. And we do whatever we can to make sure we keep them in Lakeside Union School District to continue their education. So it's super important to us to make sure we're doing that. We've discovered that about 94% of those kids will stay with us and continue on with the school district for the TK through the 8th grade. So what's really important about early ed for us is research shows that children are arriving to preschool with more and more trauma. So early ed is giving those kids an opportunity to be safe, secure, and emotionally supported by adults, my staff, that are amazing and supportive of them and whatever is going on at home. And just give them if it's 3 hours a day, then they get that and they're supported with us, and we teach them and love them and support everything that they are doing and want them to expand and continue on with what their exploration and what they want to learn. Higher educational successes are available just because they are starting so young. The mind 0 to 5 is such a huge growth for the child's brain development, and it's really important that we as a district are supporting that development and making sure that we are growing an amazing population that are going to take care of us in our old age, right? So it's kind of scary to think about it, but yeah. We definitely want those kids to be amazing and to be able to be equipped for the society that we have. The Early Start program is proud to serve the youngest students. They cover age 0 to 2 till the day that they turn 3, but when they hit 3, they move on to the SDC classes, the special day classes. These students qualify for special education services based on developmental delays in one or more developmental areas. Families are provided services via either one-on-one home visits or around 18 to 24 months, then they can come onto the campus and they will attend the center-based Early Start program. Early Start runs 204 days, where the normal school year is 180. Early Start's 204. So it's a longer year, but it's giving them that much more support and what they need. So they run till, and the school year ends around July 10th of this year. So that's, it's a long year for those kids. So that's what we've discovered on that. The late special day classes, or SDC, the students receive from the day they turn 3 until they go into TK or kindergarten. SDC also has parent participations, which we were glad to bring those back because of COVID. We didn't have them, and now they've been come back into the classroom, so the parents get to see what their children are learning, and they also get to observe and see how we interact with the child, so they can take that home and maybe be able to use that with them and their own children and see maybe getting down to their level and talking with them instead of standing above them and talking down at them. They now know, like, oh, let me get down to eye level and let me see how that works, and then they're discovering communication is better with their students, and the teachers are always available for them to be able to do that, which is really amazing. And on Fridays, they get together and do cooking, and the classes combine, and then we get to see all that, and then it's based on what our theme is for the month. The preschool assessment team that we call PAT, it's in its 5th year, which is really exciting. So far this year, there has been 38 students that have had initial evaluations, and 32 of those students have qualified for services. Only 6 didn't qualify. We're better able to place them in the 2, 3, or 4 day classes, and it's better determined with this class because we're seeing them for 2 weeks at a time instead of like a 1 or 2 hour session. We get to see them in an environment of a classroom and better assess and better be able to get more information related to the child by looking at the whole child instead of just the couple hours for a 1 session thing. SDC preschool also has extended school year, or ESY, which will start after the regular school year in June and runs for 4 weeks. In the LEAP tuition-based and state-funded preschool, we teach kids from 3 until they go to TK or kinder. There are the 3 teachers and the 6 aides. The 3 teachers teaching 6 classes, 3 morning and 3 afternoon. And then each class is 3 hours long, but there is the option of a wraparound care for the extended day. The importance of preschool education is that preschool children don't just explore their environment, but they also develop physical coordination skills. The activities they do involve running, climbing, beading, and arts and crafts to help develop hand-eye coordination and fine and gross motor skills. The teachers help preschool students develop their thinking skills by providing interesting materials to use and plenty of time to explore them, offering suggestions that encourage more complex play and thinking, as well as asking questions that stretch the child's thinking. The wraparound care, like I said, runs 6:30 to 6 and runs for 12 months, so our working families can sign up for additional care camps during Thanksgiving, winter, spring, and summer. Enrollment for tuition-based and state-funded will start again in May for the 24-25 year. And we are in hopes of being as full, if not fuller, than we are currently. So, in closing, the LEAP staff that I have are amazing, and they have a passion, such a passion for working with littles. And the tiny humans that we have, these women and men that we have on our site are phenomenal and incredible to work with. And I am happy every day I come to work and see how they are driven and how much passion they have for this. And I couldn't do what I do without them. It's been a rough week. So, sorry, it's been a long week for me, so I want to thank every single one of you
And you care.
Yeah.
for giving and supporting. I love you guys. I'm grateful every day I come to work with you guys. So, thank you, board. Thank you, Rhonda and Natalie, for always supporting us and me. Okay, I'm done. Sorry. Like I said, it's been a rough week. You guys have any questions?
No, just thank yous for all your hard work, and thank you to Brooke and all of our staff. So very much appreciate you. You're welcome. Okay,
Dedication.
we're going to move on to the organization of the board. So I will now open nominations for the member to serve as president for the upcoming year.
I'd like to nominate Andrew for president for this year.
Is there a second? Okay, then we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The board will select a member to serve as vice president to act in the absence of the president. Is there a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Laura for vice president this year.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the board will select a member to serve as clerk for the upcoming year. I'd like to nominate trustee Bennett to serve in that position. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you all. Moving on to trustee reports and comments. So we will start with Clerk Bennett.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to everybody. Tonight, we heard a little bit from the public in regards to a topic that's been in the news lately. It's been going around social media, and I'd like to take a moment to shed a little context as well as speak to the truth surrounding this parental bill of rights that have been circulating throughout East County. First, let me just speak personally to what I believe my role is here as a Lakeside School Board member. I am here to ensure that the children of Lakeside receive a quality education in a safe and welcoming environment. I represent the people of Lakeside, the parents of Lakeside. I do not represent my own self-interests or the interests of any particular person or any particular group. But overwhelmingly, the parents of this district, as well as across California, have shared their views about parental notification regarding the status and condition of their kids. There was a poll that was conducted in the state of California just this last May that found that 84% of California voters believe that parents should be notified of any major change in a child's physical, mental, or emotional health or academic performance. 62% specifically state that they would want to be notified if a child is requesting to identify as a gender that does not align with their biological sex. 91% of the parents stated that the voters stated that the parents and not the government should have the most responsibility when it comes to raising a child. Those who oppose parental notification may be very outspoken, but they are on the wrong side of what a great majority of parents want. This is even more pronounced here in Lakeside, where parents are extremely involved in the care and welfare of their children. I believe in the parents of Lakeside. I believe that they dearly love their children, and I believe that they truly want what is best for them. I also believe that the parents know best when it comes to raising their children. Nothing is stronger than the bond of a parent to their children. The parents need to know what is happening with their children in order to make informed decisions about their care and welfare. I have 2 children, and I cannot imagine a scenario where my children are in a state of mental despair or are questioning their identity, and the school district hides this information from me. And they will not tell me that my daughter is struggling. That is the current state of affairs, and it is wrong. The parental notification is not book banning. It is not anti-LGBTQ. It is not anti-student, and it is not dangerous. Its sole purpose is only to inform parents of the mental and physical condition of their children, and then allow the parents to support and discuss these issues with their children in the way that they see fit. It also allows parents to know what curriculum and what ideals are being discussed in the classroom with their children. I would encourage everyone to actually read the Parental Bill of Rights and make their own decision. I would venture to say that most of those who oppose this Parental Bill of Rights have not read it, and they are relying on others to scare you into thinking this is not what it actually is. Earlier I heard all kinds of things, that this is a book ban. I heard that this is only focused on LGBTQ kids, that student rights outweigh parental rights. I heard that most kids will be abused if we tell the parents that their kid is struggling. I also heard that this is against the law. I heard that we need to protect everybody equally. Unfortunately, everybody being protected equally means that you have to make a decision on whether or not you tell the parents or not. That protects both parties. Understanding that the parents know what's going on does protect everybody equally. I do find it very interesting that those who are here tonight that oppose the parental notification are choosing to wear black. I strongly believe that this Bill of Rights is about bringing things into the light and not hiding things in darkness, where despair and isolation and loneliness exist. As I've spoken before, speaking truth and being transparent is one of the most important things that we can do as leaders. Let's continue to bring things out into the light. Let's not hide things in the darkness. Truth will always set you free, and light always pushes out darkness and despair. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Ellenson.
Thank you. I'm not prepared to speak on that tonight, but I did want to talk about a different issue that's facing our students. I recently was privileged to go to the CSBA conference and hear our very own DA Summer Stephen talk about the opioid crisis and mostly about fentanyl. And I left there with a better understanding of exactly what's going on. I always knew that it was a severe problem facing our kids, but I also left feeling hopeful. There are really great programs and things that they're doing in our community that is providing a great relief to these numbers and the deaths that are occurring among our kids. So I'm really hopeful about that, and I want to bring in some really meaningful interventions into our own community to protect our kids. So that's really all I wanted to speak on tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Casper.
Thank you. Just so I don't forget, I wish all of you there a great holiday season, and especially for staff, teachers and the kids for a well-deserved rest. They're working so hard, everybody in our district. I welcome all voices. That's how we have light. A couple things I've been involved in and seeing parents and children throughout the last couple of weeks, this month, in November and so forth. Breakfast with Santa over at the Lakeside Rodeo Grounds. It was an incredible event to see kids, hey Mr. K, hey Mr. K, you know, and parents who I don't always remember their names, but it was just full of kids, and it was for kids. Later that evening was Spirit Christmas on Main Avenue, 25th annual, right? 25 years. I'm actually working with the Historical Society to try to see some of the pictures of how people dressed, what the cars looked like, right? 25 years ago, right? I mean, I remember, but I sort of remember. But I'd like to see, that would be really cool. Again, full of kids, full of families. There were several thousand people there, and I was honored to represent my media to film it and do some short videos also. This was, I've been here 11 years, this was probably the busiest, most visited and full of booths. A couple of booths that we had there was FAA, the Dream Academy, are you still here? Yay! And I sent the principal a picture, and Lakeside Teacher Association, okay, I also sent you a picture of some pictures I took there. We had the middle schools representing dance and instrumental. I love the instruments and watching these kids dance. That was really cool, the two middle schools. We have charter schools. Our charter schools, Verona and River Valley, they're represented too. And let's see if I forgot anybody here. I think that was it. If I missed anybody, I apologize there. And so that was really cool. And I've got a whole bunch of things coming up too. Also seeing a lot of parents and kids at the Equestrian Center, Diane and Jacob Equestrian. I've been filming that for over 2 years, from groundbreaking drone and photographs. We're finally open. It's rocking, okay? So we had several hundred people there. We have a great vendor who's in charge, lots of kids, and kids in our district on horses, and oh my gosh, it was just incredible event right here. You know, it could have been a soccer field. I don't think Lakeside was really ready for soccer. Don't want to offend anybody, but we're not, you know, so I'm glad, and it was nice to meet or see Diane Jacob again, and she's doing great. And she actually rode with her grandniece in the thing. Anti-Semitism, you know, there's a lot of things going around in this world. I was also able to see familiar faces. I also represented my press and was honored to do that at the Rally for Light at San Diego State University last week. It was actually live streamed, not by me, to Israel. That's pretty incredible because it's like 12 hours difference, whatever way, I don't know. But it was peaceful. It was beautiful, and seeing a culture that I don't really know that much about the culture, but I was like thrown right into it, and the food and the people and politicians and families and a lot of kids, so it was really nice. Making sure that we don't discriminate and have that light going. And I think that is it for now. Just a lot of great things happening in our district. I'll be going into the schools more starting next week, yeah. So, and I appreciate everybody who's attending tonight. And we heard from 2 awesome schools. I subbed in LEAP, and you know, I used to be 6'2", I'm 6'1" now, right? I'm getting a little bit older. Me on my knees, you know, trying to get up, playing with those little kids and interacting with those kids and play is so important, as the principal said. And Dream Academy is just a magical place, and I was happy with some other board members to attend their first graduation, right? She's still here, which was, anyway, their first graduation. Just a couple of kids at the time, so it was really great. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Hofer Moyer.
So I also attended the CSBA conference up in San Francisco. My sessions I focused on were a lot on policy updates, community engagement, and a big focus on school safety right now. There were a lot of great speakers, and it's great for us to have a chance to have that continuing ed to learn those types of things. I also attended Spirit of Christmas. It was our largest Spirit of Christmas that we have had ever through the chamber. Had to expand down both sides, and Santa came, all the schools sang. It was a wonderful, wonderful night. I drove up this last Sunday to Disneyland and got to watch our Lakeside Middle School perform before the Christmas parade, or the advanced dance performed. And so that was a great experience. I got to take my kids up, and we all cheered on the sidelines for them as they actually led the parade out. So it was a great experience. That's it.
Excellent. Well, I too was able to go to the School Board Association conference, and one of the things that I say about that is, as a board, we always ask for our staff to do professional development, and this is the board's professional development. This is our opportunity as a board to go and look into policy, learn about issues that face boards from not just San Diego, but across the state. And so I focus some of my sessions on mental health among kids. So I really enjoyed that. I always like to see colleagues from around the state. One who's here tonight, Kate, thank you for being here. But I enjoy seeing people from around the state. I learn a lot. I too was at the Spirit of Christmas. It was just a packed house. It was so great to see all the kids and families gathering together for our annual tree lighting. And I want to thank the Chamber, and Crystal Grosvenor is here tonight. She did a lot of hard work on that, so thank you for all that work you do for Lakeside. We appreciate that. And I also was at the Diane Jacob Equestrian Center opening, and I love the opportunities that could afford for our district to partner with the equestrian community and teach our kids about horses. Horses are such an important part of Lakeside's heritage and community spirit, so I would love to see those opportunities. And since Rhonda rides, I know that's an important thing to her, so I think that'll be something we can look at. And just on a sidebar, Supervisor Jacob looks the same when I met her 25 years ago. I mean, she hasn't changed at all, and so she's just fantastic. And the fact that she was riding was really cool to see. It was just nice to see some old friends who had actually come back to San Diego, who've moved out and come back to celebrate. So I love that opportunity for our community. Okay. On that note, we're going to move to public comments. And prior to moving to public comments, I want to address a couple items. So I'm going to allow everybody to speak this evening. Many of you are here to speak on something that's not on the agenda. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to waive some of our standing rules. So our standing rules say that on one topic you can have 20 minutes. I'm going to waive that. I'm going to allow everyone to speak, but I'm going to cap it at 2 minutes each so that everybody has the opportunity to share their thoughts with the board. And what we're going to do, that's how we're going to do it. And we're going to start with the folks who are speaking on something on the agenda. We'll start with them, then we'll move to those who are following something after the agenda. Okay, so appreciate that. As a friendly reminder, the board cannot respond to you. That is a violation of the Brown Act. So if you have specific questions, you can wait for us. We are going to be here, so you can talk to us after the meeting. Okay, thank you all. Really appreciate it. And we'll start with our first speaker.
First speaker is Juana Rocha.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Hi, my name is Juana Rocha. I am a campus supervisor at Lakeview Elementary School. I am respectfully asking the school board to reinstate me as campus supervisor. I am one of the very few Spanish-speaking supervisors. In fact, English is my second language. My son attends Lakeview Elementary School. This is my first warning, otherwise I'm a good supervisor with perfect marks. I will be willing to participate in training to improve. All I am asking All I am asking for is a second chance to prove myself. All these people know me and support me. The students love me and I love them. Please help me to have a second chance and reinstate me a campus supervisor. I want to be the best supervisor for the children. Thank you.
Nancy?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nancy Tiznado. I was resident at the Lakeside District for 8 years. I met Juanita and her precious family back in 2014. She was serving an orphanage children in Tijuana, providing food, clothes, and toys for them. Later on, we volunteered together in children's summer camps here in San Diego, and I always see her joyful in caring for kids, and it's evident how they love her. Something I value about Juanita is how she cares for children, especially her own. She's a very awesome mom, and she will never harm physically or verbally any child or human around her. We have continued our friendship for 10 years, and I just remember the excitement as a family when they became homeowners at this beautiful city a couple of years ago. She recently shared with me about her new school district position, and I was so happy for her and for the whole district because she's an asset in every organization she volunteers or works. I couldn't believe she was fired, and it's so sad to hear and see what she's going through right now. And I'm deeply concerned about her family in terms of freedom of speech in this beautiful country, as she has 2 young ones. I would say that you need to value her and give her her job back. I love her and I love Lakeside, and I truly believe that Juanita, it is a huge support for the school district and all children in this city. Thank you.
Mary Davis?
Good evening, Mary Davis here. I was originally here to advocate for Andrew as board president, so thank you for doing that. A couple of things. I think he's shown very strong leadership, and I think you made a good decision in keeping him from the Riverview sex offender. He showed strong leadership for that, and he is also very inclusive of all stakeholders in the districts. He sees parents as partners and realizes how important that is. And then also the big issue is looming before you is the fiscal crisis for the state of California. You need somebody at the helm with strong fiscal stewardship who values every tax dollar and will put them to best use. Andrew is that person. Also, I want to thank Autumn because you brought up about the fentanyl, and I would encourage all of us to please start calling it what it is. It's not fentanyl overdose, it's fentanyl poisoning. If somebody was lobbying cyanide over at us, we would call it poisoning. And so we cannot be accepting this as like overdose or just something that happens. It's literally Russian roulette with pills. And these kids are young and they don't know, and so we really need to call it poisoning. And anyway, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your service to the community, and I thank you for listening respectfully to all members of the public. Thank you.
Jennifer Harkness?
I just came here on behalf of Dream Academy, and so I have 8 children right now. Every one of them has a special need of some sort, whether it be emotional or educational. And if it wasn't for Dream Academy, they weren't making it in regular school. They were struggling really hard. And I want to thank Rhonda and the board and Brooke and all the beautiful teachers for that. But my next step is I have a boy going into high school. How's he going to make it? He can't make it in a regular high school. If he couldn't make it in, in junior high and elementary school. And so I'm throwing it out there. I emailed a couple of you guys. I'm throwing it out there. There's a whole big section of that campus that the bungalows there are probably old, maybe asbestos or something, but if we could put like 4 classrooms for high school out there for them, for these kids that don't learn the same as most kids. You know, we know COVID did a number on a lot of our kids, and that's this age of kids right now are the ones coming up. They were the ones that suffered the worst during COVID because they were littlest, and now they're coming up through junior high and high school. And so this may not be feasible, but Dream Academy has been a lifesaver for my children. The sense of community and belonging they feel, because every one of my kids suffer from rejection. And when you go to junior high school, that is the biggest thing that these kids go through, is rejection and feeling like an outsider. And at Dream, you know, they're kids, they have emotions and stuff, but at Dream they are a community. And I thought if we could come up with some kind of high school community like that, if that could be feasible. Maybe not next year, but that's, I wanted to throw it out there. Anyways, thanks for dreaming about it.
Crystal?
Good evening. I think this is my first time addressing this board. The energy has been amazing, and I always appreciate the opportunity to give feedback. Today I want to talk about transportation. We desperately need school buses. I know we're on the path to getting them, the electric school buses. There was a survey that went out. I found out the very last day that it was released to the public, and I keep an ear to the ground. And I don't know anyone else who knew that this survey was going out asking, hey, who needs transportation? So please, if there's any data that you're thinking of using for who needs transportation, where and from where, it's gonna show you that we don't have a big need and there wasn't a great response. Please don't use that data. I also want to say thank you for looking forward. We should be focusing on things like fentanyl and this path we have from the Lakeside Union School District all the way to homelessness in the riverbed, and figure out why that is. Is there a gap in the 9 through 12? Do our students not have a place to go after that? Is it just LCAP and then they fail? It's so true about middle school and how important that belonging is. And I want to mention, Mr. Bennett, you mentioned that parent notification is not dangerous. Those rules, those laws are state laws. We should not be having these conversations about state laws here at this level. We should be abiding by state laws, and that particularly could be dangerous. Those laws aren't made for families like mine or families like us here who are involved in our children, and we love and care our children. They are written for kids who are in danger at home, and I want you to remember that. We just need to focus on the things that we can work on. Thank you.
Kate Bishop?
Sort of strange being on this side of the podium. Hi, my name is Trustee Kate Bishop. I'm from the Chula Vista Elementary School Board. I'm not speaking for my district tonight, I'm speaking for myself. But shout out to President Hayes, congratulations on your election. I did speak to President Hayes in San Francisco. We chatted about the Parents' Bill of Rights, and in the chat, it was a spirited conversation. In the chat, he did assure me that it was going through legal things and it wasn't going to come up for a little while. And so my grandma always told me trust but verify. So I went through the agenda just to make sure everything was as so, and I did find that that is correct. But in doing so, I actually discovered something else that I wanted to, as a professional courtesy, to point out to you guys. For J4, the Board Policy and Administration 5144.1, I read through your board policy and I found an error that could actually create problems for you. It says, a vote to expel a student shall be taken in a public and open, that's what it says, a public and open session of a board meeting. And that should be a closed session of a board meeting. According to California Ed Code 48918C1, the governing board of the school district shall conduct a hearing to consider the expulsion of a pupil in a decision closed to the public unless the pupil requests in writing at least 5 days before the date of hearing that the hearing be conducted at a public meeting. Just wanted to point that out because we have closed session to protect our students' privacy and concerns for their safety, right? We don't know what kind of reactions can stem from divulging that sort of information that we talk about in those closed sessions because we know so many people in the community are amazing and supportive of our students, but we create these protective situations for students, not for the supportive people, but for the ones that are not, and we never know who those people might be. So I just wanted to point that out, and thank you so much for your time.
Okay, and the last one is Forrest Smith.
Hello, y'all. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and for sharing your testimonies and positions. I appreciate it. Today, I'm going to be speaking as a community member, as an advocate for youth, as for someone who has been involved in a lot of struggles in rural communities amongst privacy concerns and rights, our social and civil rights. And I have no doubt that the parents that are here today, yourself, sir, that you don't have the best intentions, that you want, the best for your kids and your community. I understand that. But when I hear your testimony and your position, it makes me feel like it's not the most sincere, because what the point of this law, the reason why this is the way where students have that right of, privacy with their schools is because a lot of students don't have a safe home. A lot of people, like myself, grew up in homes where our parents were not accepting, where our parents were violent, where we got beat, where we faced sexual abuse, right? And these are things where we went back and told our parents, like, oh, I'm queer, I think I might be queer, I might be dead right now. And so that's the reason that, that exists, because we have rights as young people growing up, right to privacy and expression and to understand who we are. And if parents really care about their kids, they'll talk to them, right? They'll have trust with you. You'll trust each other. You won't need to go to the government and make them tattle on, your kid. Your kids will want to talk to you. And so we should be focusing on making our homes and our schools accepting and, healthy environment for our kids to fully express how they feel, so that they have the right to make mistakes, to be who they want to be, and then, parents can kind of be that guiding light. And if your kid doesn't feel comfortable talking to you and bringing these things up, then that means you as a parent need to reflect, go get therapy, go get help, and come back to your kid and ask your kid how you can do better. But I think this parental bill of rights, honestly, it goes too far, and it will restrict people's rights. I did read through it, and I think it's a little patronizing to tell people that we didn't read through it just because we disagree with you, my man. We have rights just like you do. Thank you.
That completes public comment. Okay, moving on to our presentations this evening. We're going to start with Todd Owens and Ginny Lopez from our transportation. Come on up, folks.
Okay. Well, board members, superintendents, audience, I'm Todd Owens. I'm the Director of Maintenance, Operations, and Transportation. And I brought with us our Supervisor of Transportation, Ginny Lopez. And we're going to go through just a small presentation on our transportation department. This is a little bit of a spin-off from our maintenance, operations, and transportation, just to dive in a little deeper in transportation. So I'm gonna turn it over to Jenny, and she's gonna go through the first couple slides here, and then I'll jump back in.
All right, hello everybody. So, this is my favorite picture of our bus driver, by the way. So we have 22 buses and 4 passenger vans. 9 bus drivers, 5 who are 12 months, and 4 who are 10-month drivers. We have 2 van drivers who are currently 10 months, who are training, or 2 of them are training to be a bus driver. We're in the process anyway. 1 regular and home to school bus route, and 5 in-district sped bus routes. I have 1 bus driver who's combined. She's doing some out-of-district students as well as some in-district students. I have 4 bus aides, 1 mechanic with 1 open position, and 1 office support specialist, 1 office support. She's also a driver. She's also a dispatcher. Myself, who I'm also a driver trainer, dispatcher, and a driver as needed. Our home to school route, we know we have the 1 route. We service Verona in our military housing. Our Verona route, we deliver 23 students to Lindo Park, 17 students to TDS. Our military housing, we deliver 14 students to Lakeside Middle School and 50 students to Lakeside Farms. Our van routes and our combined route, we're everywhere in San Diego County. We go to Chula Vista. We have a couple schools in Mission Valley, Hillcrest, Claremont, Rancho Bernardo. We're all over the place. Our sped routes, we transport 19 students to Lindo Park, with 1 of them being wheelchair, 18 students to TDS, 3 wheelchairs, 25 students to Lemon Crest, 3 wheelchairs, 17 students to Lakeside Farms, 6 students to Lakeside Middle School, and 5 students to our LEAP program. In total, our Lakeside Union School District Transportation Department transports 209 students to school and home every day. Now I'm going to turn it over to Todd now.
All right, the fun part for me. So we were awarded a federal grant. We're going to be getting 14 brand new school buses. That's going to be awesome for our district. Right now, out of our 22 buses that we currently are running, we probably have 6 newer buses. The rest of them are from the late 80s and early 90s. So this is going to be great for our district. The board, you guys will see here pretty soon we got a Power Our Drive grant from SCG&E, so you'll probably be seeing an agenda item for an easement and an agreement to put in charging stations. And we're expecting that these buses here are going to be arriving somewhere around the end of March, beginning of April. So we're super excited to be getting these new buses. And then just to answer a couple questions to maybe the community and some other people have been talking about, how are we doing a survey? So on our website, under our transportation tab, there is a transportation request, okay? So, and what happens there is it's a Google form that's filled out. This is the results of our Google form that's filled out. In 2021, we had 83 requests for transportation. 2022, we had 43 requests. And in 2023, this year, we've had 41 requests. So out of those total of 167 requests that were made, we were able to route 35 of those families, or actually those students. This is very valuable to us. Kind of as you've heard people say, well, how are we going to be able to target these schools that are going to need this transportation? And it's been broken down to school. So if we hear people in the community or in our school community asking about transportation, I would definitely, if anybody hears that, just encourage them to go onto the website and fill out this form. And this is what we're going to use to help drive help drive where we're going to be putting these buses and building these extra routes. We're anticipating that we're going to be building 2 more routes for sure around kind of this middle school group of kids that seem to be Eucalyptus Hills out in that area and up by Lakeview and Crest area. It seems like most of our concentration is there. All right, with that, that's all we have tonight. Does anybody have any questions or? Would you like anything?
Go ahead, Trustee Bennett, and then we'll go to Trustee Casper.
It may be a naive question. So 22 buses with 9 drivers. Are we short drivers or we have too many buses?
So we are short drivers. We are definitely short drivers. So right now, I don't want to step on Jenny's toes. Right now, it's just a state shortage of drivers. We look out, driving down the road, we see that gray with that big blue smiley face on it. Those guys have taken all the professional drivers in the industry. It's very hard to hire somebody for 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon to come and drive some kids around. They're making twice as much money driving a little van around. So the driver pool in about 2020, we had a big retirement happen during that time, and that's when we lost a lot of our drivers to retirement. They didn't leave our district, but they retired, but to pull new drivers in. That's why Jenny and I, we have a van program. You saw the vans. Those van drivers, Jenny trains those van drivers to become bus drivers. So we do have a program in place. We're really just trying to bring in people that have never been a bus driver. We're trying to build bus drivers from within.
Thank you. Sure. Trustee Casper.
Oh. Yeah, Todd. So if the buses come in, let's say, April, will they be phased, or will they be beginning in the fall? Will they be used in the summer for some of the programs? What is the strategy if all the stations are ready, the charging stations and everything's up, and you have drivers?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Electric school buses are going to be new to us. Our demographics aren't very favorable to those type of buses. We were encouraged by the manufacturers that we will have good success. When you think about Verona, that's a really hard hill you're going to climb. You're familiar with that, right? So you're going to use a lot of energy. In the beginning, we looked at we will be possibly just because we don't want to get stranded. I don't think for our larger buses, we're getting 6 of those buses. I think we're going to be focusing on 3 routes. So we can run an AM and a PM in 2 different buses, just until the department, Jenny and I feel comfortable pushing those to their limits of miles. So I would say though, the way the grant works is by October of 24, we have to dispose of all of the replacements. So I would say we are definitely going to be running them by the summer, but hopefully before then. I mean, as soon as they start coming in, we'll start. The problem with the grant with SCGD is going to be timing. We'll be putting in temporary charging stations to try to keep everything going as we're doing that transition. So definitely by the end of the school year, you will see the electrics, and we will bring out one of each here to the district office during a board meeting to show you guys.
Well, I hope I can get a ride. Well, actually, I hope I can drive one in a closed-off area, not on the street.
We got a van position open.
No vans. Thank you.
Thank you. So with these new, what's our net gain of buses?
It's not going to be a net gain. It's
all.
just, like I explained, we're getting rid of our 1980 and 90 buses.
Got it. Okay,
And it's diesel buses that we're getting rid of. So there was a requirement of buses had to be over 14,000 pounds, and we had 16 that qualified. That's how we got those buses.
Okay, thank you. Excellent. Any other questions? Thanks for your hard work. Appreciate you guys. Okay, Lisa Davis for our first interim budget report.
Alright, in our budget cycle, this is that time of year when we make some adjustments to our adopted budget. And so this is our first interim. And there we go. So we'll go over some assumptions that we used, and then our fund overview, other funds, and then any questions from the board. So assumptions that we used for this interim report and for most reports are the school services dartboard. They provide assumptions based on state and local data. So these are some of I showed our learning control funding formula, how we're funded, from the state, and it shows the 8.22% COLA this year, and then how much that increased the per pupil ratio. And so I just wanted to provide the board that information. Also, some other, I just kind of touched on some of the revenue sources. California Lottery, that's funded off of our annual ADA, which is in June, and the unrestricted dollar amount for that is $177 per ADA, and then for the restricted piece, it's $72 per annual ADA. We also get some dollars from the mandate block grant that's calculated off of our P2 ADA, which is in April, and it's $37.81 per ADA. We have, which is new this year, about $28. It's 1% of the state's general fund, Prop 98. And we get that fluctuates each year based on what the funding is that the state receives. We also receive federal dollars, Title I, II, III, and IV. Those are highly restricted dollars, and you'll use those a certain way. And then, of course, our special education, AB 602 dollars, and our federal IDEA dollars, which funds mostly preschool type programs and the preschool special ed type programs. I always clear the room.
Budget clears the room.
Budget clears the room. Some risk, you've seen this before, I'll just reiterate that, that the school districts are experiencing are declining enrollment because that impacts your funding, your ADA ratios, your average daily attendance ratios. After coming out of COVID, they're historically lower than what they have been, and then any expired one-time funds and then compensation cost pressures. So our first interim budget, some of the revenue assumptions we used were we did use the 8.22% statutory COLA, and then we used a 2% property tax increase. That fluctuates, but not too much, the property tax increase. It really doesn't fluctuate too much off of that 2% each year. Expenditure assumptions we used overall for our step and column increases at 2% on the certificated side and 1.5% on the classified side. STRS rates this year 19.1%. That's 19.1% for every dollar on our salaries. And then PERS, which is the classified side of the house, is 26.68. Again, 26.68% of every dollar for salaries. Our operational increases, we used a 10% increase, and then our first interim budget reflects any carryover balances, because when we closed the district's books in September, we got to see how we all ended and if there was any carryover balances with state or local funds. Now those have been budgeted into our first interim budget, so that's why you'll see some increases in either revenue and or expenditures. The students, we're using 4,541 estimated enrollment. Right now we're sitting at, we just finished our P1, which is at the, takes kind of like a baseline look at what our ADA is sitting at for right now until we get to P2. We just finished that, we're sitting at a 94% ADA. A good place to be, just a side note on here, a good place to be on average is 97%. That's really a school district sweet spot. You can maintain a 97% ADA ratio or better, but that's good. So we have a little bit of growth coming out of COVID, as well as other districts too. They're all of us in San Diego County are kind of sitting somewhere around anywhere between 92 and 95. So, but as we increase and we really focus, which we just had a meeting and actually our ADA rates are looking really positive, and we're really targeting getting those students in school and being active in school. That I think I shared with the board a little while ago, every 1% averages about $500,000 to $600,000 increase in our funding. So, you know, the more we can get our ADA up there means that we actually have more funding to work with for our school district. Staffing, we have 277.8 FTE, which means full-time equivalent. And our certificated staff, 248.6 FTE for classified staff and 30 FTE for management and confidential staff. General fund revenue, or our general fund overview, which is our both unrestricted and restricted side of the general fund. Combined revenues, we're anticipating almost $79 million, expenditures about $85.5 million. We're making a contribution of $500,000 to our deferred maintenance fund, and then our contributions to our special ed. This is something we're really going to be looking at and focusing in on, is our encroachment to our special ed funding, because we just don't receive enough state and federal dollars to support all of the mandated special ed requirements that we have to. So it's almost $11 million for $10,200,000 that we're spending out of our general fund on encroachment for our special ed. So we're definitely going to be digging in and diving in on that, and looking at just any areas that we can focus on to reduce that encroachment. So our combined general fund balance, we're looking at ending the year at 12.4%, and or just unrestricted as 8.31. So we are sitting still in a good place. This is just a pie chart to show our general fund revenues. You can see the majority is our local control funding formula, which does include our property taxes and then what the state bills to make up the difference. Up to the right, you can see how much our property taxes we bring in. It's only about 17%. It's always, you know, everybody thinks property taxes, that's what funds the school district, but it's a small portion of what funds the whole school district. General fund expenditures pie chart, again, salaries and benefits in the majority of school districts expense. So we have to turn into the state multi-year, current year and then 2 years out. So I'm showing where we had adopted the budget back in June, and then now at first interim, and then the 2 years projected out. So we'll definitely be looking in the 2 years projections. We did include in those some, we ran some data on potential retirees where people are at, so we factored all of those in to those projections. Staying conservative, I think we may be getting more than what we utilized in this as far as retirements, because we have a very heavy staff on the certificated and classified side that have been with the district for quite a long time and are at that retirement part, or age or in years that potentially they will be leaving us. And then other funds, just a quick overview on the other funds that the district has. We have an ASB Fund 8 Child Development Fund, which is, you saw Robin Bowman earlier, it's the state preschool, tuition-based preschool, and our ESS program, our before and after school program that Jared Murphy runs. Our cafeteria fund, Fund 13, that's very healthy right now. Oops, sorry about that. They're looking in very good shape. We have a little tiny special reserve fund of $241. And there we go. We have another small pupil transportation fund of $10,000, and then our building or bond fund that we are at the end of that, and should be at 0 by the end of this year. And all of our projects are finishing up, and the major ones are finished up. We just have one last one, Climate Tech, that was partially funded from the bond, but it's getting all complete, and then we will not have any more bonds, dollars. Capital facilities, which is any developer fees that we collect in the district. So we're really looking at that as far as any of our facility projects, gonna be utilizing and dipping into that fund. And our special reserve for capital outlay, which is for more facility projects, and that's where our deferred maintenance funds sit, and that's where we make that $500,000 transfer to. I just wanted to show the board, we have 2 charter schools, Verona Indian Charter and then our River Valley Charter School, which does serve grades 7th through 12th. So I know the one parent was talking, so that may be something that we could direct her to for high school students, because it's has a great program and addresses and is ran similar to Dream project based and stuff. Yep. So you can see their fund balances. And next steps are just, we'll have our second interim March 15th, and then start the whole cycle again. Natalie and I will be working on the LCAP to have for the June board meeting, or adopted budget for the June board meeting, and get that adopted. I will speak more on probably our second interim. The governor's budget will be coming out January 10th, or right in there, but not later than that. And so when we do come back for the second interim, we'll be discussing some of those multi-year. We'll have those, whatever he's proposing may have some of those factors in it. But I don't really want to speak too much on that. There's a lot of talk that I just want to wait until we actually hear what his proposal is. And then of course there will be a lot of negotiations between him and the legislature between January and the May revise, and see what kind of negotiations happen with his initial budget proposal. And so I'll be talking to the board more about, or we're already having conversations in cabinet about issues, just to be prudent and stay on top of what's happening at the state with the economies and what may be impacting school districts. Any questions?
Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I do want to say thank you, and how much work goes into these. So I appreciate all the time that you spent to put this together.
Thank you.
I do have a couple questions, I'm sorry. You know me, I'm seeing my sad face here. I'm seeing the combined not making me happy, making me sad. But what's making me happy is the unrestricted, because that means that for things that we need to do, we have a positive balance in our unrestricted funds. So that's all. Because I understand with restricted, this seems like to me it could be long-term funds that we're burning out, or all the rest that aren't here anymore. So that's why, you know,
Correct.
over time.
We've received, and you're gonna see that on the restricted side, and any restricted should be spent down.
That's right.
And, because those funds really are, the intent is not to hold them, or a lot of times they do have a due date by, they have to be spent by a certain time. So, you know, we had received a lot of dollars during COVID, the learning loss mitigation, the arts, music, and so, a lot of those will be expiring in 2025, 2026-ish, around there. So you'll see that restricted side of the budget dramatically be down, and unless the state's spending any more new dollars with that, you know, on the restricted side, will it kind of bump that side back up? That being said, we're definitely looking at, been already having discussions about preserving and not compromising the unrestricted side of the general fund. And so anytime we're really watching any of the restricted dollars that we can use before we use the unrestricted side. Also any, if we're funding any new job positions, a lot of those are being funded by categorical or the restricted funds. If those funds run out, and we're really gonna be taking pulses throughout the year, my department is watching those. If those monies look like they're gonna be running out, then there's decisions that need to be made because we're not going to compromise the unrestricted side of the house or the fund to backfill the restricted. If the dollars are gone, they're gone. And we need to make adjustments to whatever is being spent. I think that's just moving forward, that's gonna be the nature of doing good business.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm not, I always look at this and I always look at the unrestricted to see, what that looks like. 'Cause that's what we can use right now, right? Restricted is not what we're able to use all the time. And so, while I have my general rule, I also look at the number here and I just go, I know, it's good. So I appreciate your work on this. Is the state reserve cap still in effect for 10%? How long is that gonna go? Until it triggers a different?
Which, again, the January budget with
where
the
they're
state
projecting it should be gone.
I'm saying out of the 4 triggers that trigger the 10%, that I would imagine all 4 triggers won't be in play again for the 24-25 school year.
Yeah, that would be good.
So then that would go away. It's just in any given year, if all of those triggers all happen all at the same time, then it triggers at 10%.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Then,
thank you.
We will move to approve the first interim report. Is there a motion to approve the first interim budget report?
I move that we approve the first interim budget.
Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Now on to items of business. I need a motion to designate the consent agenda items. Do we have a motion to designate consent agenda items?
I move that we designate the consent agenda items.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there any item that you would like to pull this evening?
Can I pull 4.9?
We may. Anything else you'd like to pull? None? Not at all? Fair enough. Okay, 4.9. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve all items on the consent agenda without 4.9. Is there a motion to do so?
I would make a motion to approve all items except for 4.9.
Excellent. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
4.9, Vice President Hofer Moyer.
4.9 is our gifts to the district. There were a lot of great gifts of giving this month. Stadium Association gave a bunch to Dream Academy and some others, Women's Club Lakeside, amongst others. I just want to give a big thank you to everyone. It is always appreciated for all of your gifts.
Excellent. Okay. Any other comments on that? I too would support that. I love that we get so many donations to the district. So, but in this month, it's literally everywhere. So it's fantastic. So very, very much appreciated. Okay, is there a motion to approve 4.9?
I move that we approve 4.9.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving right along to our discussion items. The enrollment report was in our packet, so if you have any questions, now is the time. Okay, we have a first reading of Board Policy 3452, Student Activity Funds. Any comments or edits or amendments to that? None? Okay, that'll come back to us. We also have first reading in Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 5117, Inter-District Attendance. Any edits or changes there? I thought that was pretty straightforward. Item 4, this is to member of the public's comment, AR, Board Policy and AR 5144.1, suspension and expulsion due process. I would like staff to please take a look at that. I appreciate my fellow trustee from Chula Vista pointing that out. It's very helpful. Thank you. Any other things on that?
No, just that we bring that.
That'll come back. That'll come back for a second reading. Okay, first reading of Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 617.3. I'm sorry, 6173.1. Education for foster youth. Any thoughts on this? Okay. Number 6, second reading and adoption of Administrative Regulation 5141.21, administering medication and monitoring health conditions. This one we discussed last month, as you'll recall, and the staff provided us with an updated version. Are you all comfortable with it? I know that we had some discussion surrounding it, and so I want to make sure that you all are comfortable with where it is.
Yes.
Okay, so be it then. Then we need to vote on that one? Yes. Yes, we do, so we need to adopt it sometime. Okay, so I need a motion to adopt AR 5141.21.
I move that we adopt AR 5141.21.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Excellent. Okay, moving here to our labor partners, Carrie Strong, LTA.
Holy cow, it's December. It's almost winter break already. It's amazing. I feel like Thanksgiving happens and then it's like crazy. LTA was at the Spirit of Christmas. Thank you to the whole community for put that on. It was wonderful. And we hand out smencils, which are smelly pencils, which the kids from like 15 feet away will go, is that a stencil? And they're so excited. And then also, I don't know, I remember having stencils as a kid in school, so a lot of parents wanted them too, but we only have them for the kids. So we handed out hundreds. I think it was like 6 or 7, tons of pencils. It was amazing. And we just love being a part of our community in that way. It's so fun and festive, so thanks for coming by and taking pictures and saying hello. And we had a good time in the booth a few minutes ago. As members of the Lakeside education community, we also know that we all support the best educational experience for our kids. And we've captured that in our mission statement of our school district. We're committed to celebrating and acknowledging the diversity in our community while affirming the purpose of our common humanity. The common humanity part of this strikes a chord with me. I think that we're all in this place and time for a reason. I have a job in Lakeside for a reason. It all just, I think it's just, I feel like they line up. I've been here for 17 years now, and every day I walk in my classroom, I tell myself I'm the teacher that these kids need right now. I don't know why, but maybe they are. And I believe that that's not unique to me. I think many of our teachers show up to work every day with that mindset in their classrooms. We're charged with carrying on and lifting up our incredible school district in this community, 100 years. Right? I want to see more of those historical tidbits. And we can only do that by working towards all of our common goals, by flying in the same direction, by lifting together. Rhonda's always reminding us. And that includes you. You're part of that lift as a school board. Our hope is that as a school board, as I've been talking throughout this whole year, is to focus on the issues that we've been trying to tackle in Lakeside. We're trying to improve student learning and learning loss, catching up from that. We're working to improve our school facilities. We're working to align and calibrate our math programs across the district. We're working on maintaining the ELA alignment calibration work that we did last year. We're working on updating our report cards. We're working on building our professional relationships with each other. And we're working on connecting our families to our schools. And we're working on increasing our attendance. And I'm so proud of all the work that our educators have done these last few months of school. It's hard. Everyone shows up, they have a smile on their face, and the kids don't even know how hard it is. And that's the magic, right? The show looks great. But it's hard work. And it takes a lot of focus and a lot of time. I know that those of you that have been in classrooms before, you empathize with that, you know that. We also know that unnecessary chaos, or any chaos, whether it's necessary or unnecessary, it takes away your attention from the issues that are actually impacting your students every day. Earlier this evening, you heard from many parents and community members and staff on their concerns on the Parents' Bill of Rights that was presented on the news in November. First-hand stories that I heard tonight, they moved me. They reminded me why I'm a person, why I'm an educator, so I can teach children to go out in the world and speak their truth, whatever it is. And
manage themselves in society. It's amazing. I've been here, like I said, for 17 years, and so I feel like I have a bit of a little voice as an educator here. And my teachers trusted me enough to elect me as their president. And so I need to add our educators' voice to this. We are concerned that, like the parents and community members here tonight, that our most marginalized students could be put at risk by enacting policies similar to those that were outlined in the Parent Bill of Rights. We also know that every single point in the proposed Bill of Rights that is legal, we already have practices, ed code, or board policies in place that allow for all of this oversight and interactions with schools. The facts are that educators want parents to be involved in their child's education. We want our parents in our classrooms. We want our parents coming to conferences. We want our parents to stop by the district office and view the curriculum when it's on display through the adoption process. That's the community. That's how our school districts run and operate, and we've been doing so for 100 years. And we want that to continue. We know that when parents are able to be connected with their schools, they have a more positive outlook on school, and that student is able to find success in some place in their school, whether it's academically or through electives or just through their involvement in clubs or events at school. Another thing that we're really concerned with is that we want information to be communicated accurately. We don't want people to be misled to think that schools are doing things that we don't do. We don't give medicine to kids without multiple pieces of paperwork being signed by the parent and their doctor. We just don't. I don't know, I have kids at school with medication. I had to get at least 3 papers signed by me and my doctor before my kid could have Tylenol for broken arm. So that's the fact that the medication part was, and the procedures part was included in the Bill of Rights was included in there, it's misleading. Like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that in LUSD. The other thing that just because part of my job as our union leader is I communicate and I observe across the state, like many of you look at other school boards, so you're probably familiar with the issues that districts like Temecula are facing. They enacted similar policies, and they're facing huge legal battles and board recalls because of it, and with serious implications to budget, because all of these things have money tied to them. They don't get fixed free. We have to employ lawyers to handle these issues. And we need to be fiscally responsible as we're just looking at this thing. So I feel this that's the balance that I see here. We also have to make our district a place where people want to come to work and families want to transfer their kid to our district, not leave our district. So these conversations that are coming up, I worry that they're gonna damage our reputation. We've worked really hard, your teachers have worked so hard to build our schools to be amazing places. And we don't wanna be plastered all over the news with people yelling at us because of horrible things, right? We want all the positive parts of us to be out there. So I hope that we can look at other districts and take that as an example and say, okay, what can we accomplish here? What can we do to meet the needs of the parents in our community here in a way that is legal, that is respectful, that's responsible, that's safe? It's on the wall of my classroom. Legal's not up there, but respectful, responsible, and safe are. But that's important. It turns my stomach as one of our staff brought up earlier tonight that we might be putting our employees in a position to do what's legal or do what a board policy says. And it makes me really nervous about that. I'm worried for our employees when I think about it from that perspective. But as board members, you guys have the power to table policies, to vote against them, to abstain from them, to choose not to put them onto agendas. You can avoid the damage that it can cause to our students, our communities, our reputation in the county. And you have the ability to move an agenda that supports students and parents in the education of the community. And I wrote that down, and as I wrote it, I was like, That is a summary of a board member. Maybe one day I'll want to run for a school board in my own city, right? I would do that because I want to move agendas that are supporting my students in the community, right? And so when we look at things, what we're trying to bring forward, does it serve our students in a positive way? Are we supporting them? Are we making them feel safe and welcome in our schools by the conversations and the way that we're enacting policies? I don't think that the Parent Bill of Rights does this. I think there's other ways that you can address some of the concerns that you might be having. I think it's a distraction, it's a huge distraction from the real work of educating all of our incredible students and providing them with a really high quality, free public education. It feels like it's undermining our other work. So I just think that we need to stay in Lakeside. We focus on our students, our families, and our schools, and our staff. We don't make illegal policies that are going to discriminate or put any child at risk, ever. We focus on improving our students' well-being, the community, and then the end of the community in every way that we can. We get involved, we show up. We love our Lakeside schools, and every student who walks through our door deserves to know that they will be cared for deeply while they're with us. I think that that's our job as leaders in this district.
Yes.
Is Dave here? No. Okay. Lisa Davis.
Okay. Just have, just some quick, comments to make. Thank you, Todd and Denny, for coming tonight and, doing a presentation and highlighting the transportation department. I'm excited too about the buses, and hopefully SUG will get in those charging stations and we can start developing and piloting some good things to get more kids on buses and to school routes. So good stuff coming. We just received as of today a draft of the audit report, and so I'll be reviewing that and bringing that forward to the board probably in the January board meeting. But I'm happy to say there's no findings. We came out completely clean.
Great.
So yeah, so it was, I love it. And so a huge shout out to the business office because they do the heavy lifting on that and make sure that they're doing things the right way. And sometimes people may get mad about procedures and policy, but there's a reason for it, and we gotta stick to it because then we don't have findings in the audit report and we stick to the program. Jared Murphy, the director of ESS, he had shared with me earlier this week that they will be opening with about 250 students over winter break. So he said he will be spending over at Lakeside Farms. The second week, I don't think they're open the first week, but the second week of winter break, he's spending with 250 of his personal best friends. And he always has a great program, and it sounds like the kids always have a great time. So that's good news. The Child Nutrition Center, just FYI for the board, over winter break, they'll be starting construction on the final phase of the central kitchen, and doing what they can to get things done, and it's gonna be kind of like pieced and parted, because then it needs to be open for when school starts back to serve the meals and stuff. But then I think the final is spring break, Todd?
3 weeks before spring break and spring break.
Yeah. And then that phase will be completely finished with the remodel of the central kitchen, and then tech will be very, very busy over winter break also, the whole tech department, in replacing some switches and some infrastructure type stuff around the district. So everybody will hopefully have happy holidays, but there's gonna be some staff that will be very busy beavers around here. Taking the opportunity when staff's not here to get the work done that is much easier to do when the students and staff aren't here. And, so that's it for my report.
Excellent. Thank you. Dr. Winspear.
Okay, so yesterday we had our second district-wide PLC of the school year, and our focus was on math instruction. So our teachers worked in grade level teams, so all the 5th grade teachers from across the district and so on with every grade. And they spent some time looking at student work with a focus on student strengths. So a lot of times as educators, we look at the work that our students produce and we automatically go to, our brains automatically go to, okay, what can't my students do and how am I going to remediate that and how am I going to address it? So we did an activity where we worked to stay focused on what our students can do. And that's so that we can take a strengths-based approach to intervention and instruction in the classroom, because especially in mathematics, there's always more than one way to solve a problem, probably in every way, but math especially, there's so many ways to approach a math problem. And so we're trying to train our brains to recognize and accept the preferred method for each and every student in our class to solve problems and then build their skill set from there. So that was really the focus of our work yesterday, and our principals facilitated those grade level teams and they did a great job facilitating those conversations and getting folks talking. Good news regarding finances. It's a small little thing, but I mentioned before that we were applying again this year for the Strong Workforce Partnership Grant at both of our middle schools. We were awarded that grant last year to improve our engineering programs. We can't ask for the same type of funding every year, so we had to look at what else could we do, and it has to be a match to what the contribution we're already making to our programs. So each of our middle schools had a different focus this year. The objective for TDS's project, it was to expand their CTE courses that are available to students in the field of environmental technologies, focusing on how automation can provide solutions to agriculture and human impact on the environment, and also focusing on access to those programs for all students. And then the objective of the LMS project is to broaden Lakeside Middle School CTE pathways through the introduction of manufacturing and product development classes that focus on designing, building, and producing merchandise in order to meet the needs of our student population. And they're looking at kind of repurposing the Mr. Mull's shop and bringing it up to date and kind of giving it like a different spin. So the good news is we were informed that we have been awarded. But it's funny, they tell you you're awarded, but then they make you wait about another month or so before they tell you how much they're actually going to give you. Last year we were funded at 80% of our ask. This year we're hoping it's 100%, but we don't know. I will report back, but it's exciting because this money helps us to just continue to expand our pathway opportunities for our students, so that hopefully by the time they're ready to move on to high school, maybe they've had an opportunity to explore things that they wouldn't have otherwise, and then they can kind of triangulate maybe what Grossmont High School District school they may want to attend based on what CTE pathways they offer. We just graduated last week, our first class of the 23-24 school year in our PK program. This is our Parent Institute for Quality Education. And we had 12 families that graduated from the program. Rhonda and I got to attend the graduation. The last night is a celebration, but part of what they learn in the program is how to advocate and communicate with school district staff. A lot of the families that participate in the program are English as a second language, so it really focuses on advocacy. And one of the things they do is they generate a list of questions for me, and I get to sit in the hot seat and answer their questions, which are usually around, how do I find out about this? How does this in the district work? So, and then they also offer me ideas from their perspective. So it's a nice back and forth, and then we celebrate. So. We also use it as an opportunity to encourage those families to join our parent advisory committee, because we're always looking for expanded participation there. So I extended that invitation to the families that graduated from the program. Our TK interest lists for next school year are open. We are expanding TK again next year to, right now, students had to turn 5 by April 2nd this year to be eligible for TK. Next year it's going to be June 2nd, and then the following year will be September 2nd, and then we'll be done with our expansion. But we've been growing a couple of classes every year, so we're opening our interest list early so that we can, essentially we want to try to serve as many students as we possibly can. The good news is it's more students, the bad news is space. So it's also identifying where we have space, how much interest is there, and where can we expand our programs. So we will be monitoring that closely every month for the rest of the school year. And then in November, in late November, we had, in service of always trying to expand our learning and our actions around school safety, we brought in an organization called the Regional Emergency Management Systems, and this is a really cool organization. It's nationwide. They provide free professional development to school districts around preparing for emergencies. And it's all kinds of emergencies. So our principals, our managers, and local police and fire representatives came to this training. We had 4 hours of training where we learned how to prepare for a variety of possible emergency situations. It was nice to have the perspective of fire and police there, because they were able to say to us, okay, this is what we would do, this would be our priority in that situation. Because sometimes we think, oh, I'm just gonna, the police will come and help me. Well, if it's a regional emergency that impacts the entire community, we may not be first on their list. So thinking about how are we going to be prepared for those types of situations. And it was a nice opportunity for us to learn together, think about what our next steps need to be in order for us to continue these conversations within our district, so that we have more of an awareness and we're better prepared for those types of situations. And then last but not least, as many of you know, this spring, winter and spring, we will be writing a new 3-year LCAP. So we have been spending a lot of time thinking about how are we going to prepare for writing a new 3-year LCAP. So we've got a variety of actions planned for January and February to begin our input process. So as we always do, we will launch a thought exchange, which is a great way to get the community talking to each other on the system about what they think is important for us to pay attention to. But because it's a 3-year LCAP, we're going to do more opportunities for input. So we're going to hold 3 community input meetings in February, and we're going to have interpreters. We're going to have those meetings in person, but we're also going to offer one virtual for families that maybe can't show up in person. We're going to gather input from our district parent advisory committee, from our teacher and classified advisory committees, as well as through our management and leadership meetings in the district, so that we have an opportunity to hear from all of our partners on what they think we should be focused on in our next 3-year. Okay. And that is it for me.
I can't get on this slide right now.
No, it's on the other one.
Oh, it was on.
Natalie, can I ask something?
Yes, sorry.
The parent advisory committees, do you know how does that, the information that that parents can be on the committee get put out to the community? Is that through the principals? Do they send it out in their newsletter, or?
We do it in a variety of different ways. So sometimes we advertise on social media.
Okay.
We also use our DLAC committee. We have those meetings back to back, so we're also trying to make it easy for parents to be part of more than one committee at a time. So we advertise it. Last year I literally called and reached out to families that I knew, because we were really trying to expand our involvement, and we were really looking for voices of parents of children with special needs. So we actually reached out personally to families to invite them to join the committee. So and then yes, we ask parents, we write blurbs, and we ask them to put it out in their weekly communication. And I'm sure there's more ways that I'm just not thinking of off the top of my head, but we really want that committee to have a lot of participation. So we welcome anybody who's interested.
Dr. Bonatier.
So in continuing talking about our 100 years, educating and celebrating our students, this month we're going to talk about Lindo Park Elementary School, which was built in 1949. And the paper hailed Lindo Park as one of the most modern schools in Southern California. It cost $139,000 to build, which is amazing because everything costs millions now. But you can see that was the front of the school in 1949. There's very little there that looks the same. the steps look the same, but it looks very, very different today. This is that same view today, so our maintenance team has done a wonderful job with the passing of the bonds and there are measures to upgrade that school that it does look really good and state of the art. It was a Proposition V in 2008 and the reauthorization of Measure L in 2014. We were able to upgrade the schools and add this amazing new multi-purpose room, which really kind of pumps up the appearance, the street and curb appearance of the whole school over and over. Moving from Lindo Park, we're going to talk about Lakeside Farms was the next school. So Lakeside Middle School, which was the River Valley High School, I believe, and then it became LMS. And then Lindo Park was the second school. So then in 1957, Lakeside Farms was built as an elementary school and opened then. This picture is from around 1960, taken of the front. I love this one because I just love looking at the old cars. And it had a very small parking lot, but back in those days, the kids either walked to school or they rode the bus to school, so we didn't need the large parking lots that we need now. But it's just fun to see that. We have a picture here of the 1961 when the bomb shelter was built there, and this still gets a lot of attention from the media. Even still, they'll come back every once in a while and look at the bomb shelter because it's a very much a unique building for us in Lakeside that really no one else has. And you will see here the superintendent of the time leading the class of kids down to visit the bomb shelter. And that's just like if you just change the faces of the kids, they're still going down there into the bomb shelter because it does house the 5th grade classes for Lakeside Farms Elementary, and they do an amazing job there. It's got a lot of little the rooms back in there, the storage rooms and stuff are kind of woven back in there, and they're really big and have, when you go in there, it's just strange to think what the purpose for which the building was built or what that space was used for. Last year, we were able to open the new office in 2022 of the Lakeside Farms, looking like a barn as it was blending in with the surrounding community, and it is Lakeside Farms, so it has a barn. So that was another last of our bond projects that we utilized to make that office come to fruition. And it changed the space at Lakeside Farms where the cafeteria was and where they served the meals to the students. They took that and rearranged that. There's some little offices in there. And then they moved where the students eat from the front where the barn sits pretty much, and then moved it over to the other side. So again, I think Chris did a really good job with that. It was pretty disruptive, but we got it done, they got it open, but it is great. It looks really, really good. It's a good office space. Okay, and that's all I'm going to cover tonight. We'll do a couple more next time. But celebrating our 100 years.
Okay, great. Well, I want to wish everybody a happy Christmas, and thank you for being here tonight. If there's nothing else before the board, we'll adjourn the meeting. Have a great holiday.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yes.
Happy
Yes,
New
thank
Year. God bless you all.